years. We met a long time ago when we were both volunteering at crisis services in North Alabama. She's just a phenomenal person. And, you know, I tell you, I meet people all the time and they share their testimony with me. And Sandy was one of those people. And Sandy is actually a recovered drug addict. She's been clean and sober now for 12 years, which is phenomenal when you hear her story, because she really, really had a terrible time. And what led up to that was a series of events that she's going to share with us today. But today she's co-leading Hidden Hearts. It's an abuse and recovery study. And she helped start Celebrate Recovery at her church in 2005, and it is still going strong. And so a lot of people attending that. And I'm just so proud of you for doing that, because I know those type of programs are wonderful for people. She has studies in sports medicine, criminal law, behavioral science, so she's just jack of all trades over here. She does a lot of stuff. So, but you also, you know, you have volunteered for several places, at Hope Place, and I know Crisis Services in North Alabama, so I thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your testimony. This is a little different side of Coffee and Christ. You know, we're not picking a topic today, we're kind of sharing with you what we have going on and people that have been impacted. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your family?
Well, to start, I was adopted at 2.5 months old. I was in one foster care home, and then I had a good childhood. My childhood was good. I was raised up in church. You know, was involved in different things in school. And then, but after I was told I was adopted, I can't really remember what age, the rejection started setting in, and I couldn't understand, okay, these people that I'm living with are strangers. You know, these are just things that were going through my head.
Because you weren't ready to hear that at that time.
Well,
you weren't mature enough, maybe.
I wasn't mature enough to hear it. I didn't know what adoption meant. Okay, where's my real family? Who are you? And what am I doing here? You know, and then, you know, at the time, it's not an open adoption, so all these questions arise, you know, where am I from, who I look like, okay, and now I've got to get to know these people. But other than that, my childhood was good. My dad was a farmer, you know, raised up on a farm pretty much, and, you know, I mean, it was a good childhood until about the age of 12, and I was abused outside the home. And
what kind of abuse? Like sexual abuse?
It was sexual abuse, and then that's when, you know, the rejection got worse, and then started having problems in school, and I didn't know how to handle it, and when I did tell someone, I was laughed at, and so I just never talked about it anymore. And then the drug addiction started, hanging out with the wrong crowd, and, you know,
Do you think you were trying to see? You know, that's my background. I was sexually abused when I was younger. But do you feel like when you told someone and they didn't believe you, you didn't want to tell anybody else for fear of losing their love and respect, or?
It was the fear of being made fun of. You know, it was like being judged.
Yeah, being judged. Yeah.
I wasn't believed. Okay, you're laughing at me. You know, 12 years old, and okay, this happened, but you're not believing me. And then that's when the addiction was started. I was trying new things, trying to find how to deal with it, and
hanging out with the wrong crowd.
And just one thing led to another. It was drinking, and just didn't care. Even at the age of 12, 13, you know, really started going out here having sex. It was trying to find something to relieve the pain of rejection, judgment, and not being accepted, or reaching out for help and didn't get it.
Well, and I also feel like when you're abused young like that, you associate sex with love in a way. You know, it's very confusing because you're not mature enough to understand what has just happened. You know, you're not mature enough to understand it, and it's an adult setting that example for you. So you're thinking, you have this mindset that somehow sex is a part of love, you know, and it's really not. They're not associated in any way. You know, that's just like when you're married, you know, it's a blessing on the top of the cake, you know what I mean? But
confused sex with love, that if a guy said, well, you know, if I, like, he's interested, but yet it was sex, okay, he's gonna love me. Well, that, it doesn't work like that. Sex and love are two different things.
That's right.
And it just doesn't.
Well, sex and making love are two different things. I mean, having sex with someone is very empty, but when you have a true bond with someone and you love them, that's the whole key of waiting until you're married. You know, lay down with someone.
That's one thing that I have been learning.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling when you wait until you're married.
That, you know, without sex outside of marriage is pointless sex to me.
It's empty.
It's empty. If this person doesn't love me and doesn't talk to me after that, it's pointless sex. What is the point of? I'm learning now more why God says to wait until you're married.
You bond on a different level. I think that if you bond on an emotional level and a spiritual level, you will automatically bond on a sexual level. And you know, you're going to get to a point in your life where when you're married, you're going to be too old to make love to each other. And what do you have if you can't communicate? If you're not bonded on an emotional level and a spiritual level, how are you going to get along? What are you going to do? Exactly. What are you going to do? Yeah. Well, so you're on the streets hanging with the wrong crowd. You're doing drugs. You're drinking. You told me a little bit more about you prostituted at one time.
Well, when you're on the street and you do whatever you have to do to get, you know, the drugs or support your habit. So if you sleep with guys that, you know, and they pay you with drugs or money or whatever, that's prostitution.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to stand on a street corner to be a prostitute or harlot or whatever they want to call you. I mean, whatever you're doing to supply your habit, you know, that's prostitution.
What was your worst time? What's the worst time you remember being on the streets? I know you said something about losing a few days there on the streets. You were so high.
Oh yeah, there was days and days that I don't. There's years I don't even remember being on the street. Just stayed high every day. Not eating, not sleeping. You're just in dope houses all the time. I've slept in dope houses. There were times I've been so high I couldn't even find my way home. I've slept in cow pastures. I mean,
yeah.
You know,
wow.
I don't even remember any those years. I don't remember anything that I've done. I don't remember anything that happened to me, and it's probably a blessing that I don't, because God probably knows that I would not be able to handle it. It could be a setback for me. So I'm thankful that I don't remember those days, because they were just blackouts. I don't remember them. Those are years, months of my life I won't get back.
Well, how did this affect your relationship with your family and your friends? I mean, here you are, you're a young child, and
I don't have any friends. They're associates. My family, yeah, they love me, but they didn't like me, you know, because I was high all the time. It was disrespectful, stealing from my folks. You know, I didn't have a relationship with my sister. My brother talked to me, but it got to the point that I was also stealing from my jobs, pawning car titles, selling stuff out of my house, and, you know, anything that it took to, you know, to supply what I wanted, and it didn't care who it hurt. I wasn't trying to have relationships with anything. You know, it was just sex, drugs, alcohol, partying. Anything that went down on the street, hey, I did it.
And you've come so far since then. What was the turning point for you, though? I mean, what happened to make you make that decision to turn your life around?
Well, honestly, I'm just gonna be real. You know, I wasn't trying to. I didn't want to stop doing what I was doing, because I enjoyed doing what I was doing. I was used to it. This is what my life was, and I didn't know any other way to live besides doing what I was doing. You say I was raised from the streets, you know, but I had, one day I got off work. This was back in toward the end of May in 2001. And then I had stopped and got $100 worth of dope. Went home, smoked it, you know, you cut it up, you know, and, you know, you're probably looking at about $100, $150, $200 worth of dope. Went home and smoked it. And of course, you know, I'm good in with the dope dealers, you know, I can go on credit, you know, whatever. They'll give me enough to smoke, give me enough to sell. So,
I didn't know they had a credit line, but.
oh, honey, I was good in on the street, honey. My credit was, hey, that's the only kind of credit that I've had good. Was on the street, not bragging or anything. I'm not bragging, but anyway, to make,
Yeah, that's not a good line of credit to
no,
have.
so don't go there, don't go there. But I ended up overdosing, and onto it was about $300-400 worth of dope. It was crack cocaine. I had started smoking heroin, so on that one particular day, that was it. It was overdosed. Wasn't trying to, I liked what I was doing, so no, I'm not trying to kill myself, but, so I walked into my bathroom, and I couldn't breathe. I had turned every shade of color you can think of. Walked into my living room. Next thing I know, I'm on the couch, totally freaking out, white as a ghost. My brother's standing outside knocking on the door trying to say, let me in. And I'm like, I don't even realize what even happened to me, but I do know from researching or just trying, you know, to understand my overdose. And what happened was it was just a dark place. And I tell a lot of people this, I did hear God, I heard his voice. It was just a total dark place, total darkness. And God, he asked me, it's either heaven or hell. And I said, God, I promise you, if you give my life back, I won't touch another drug, drink, do anything. And it was just like, wow, boom, here I am. And I've been sober for 12 years now.
Wow, I mean, that's serious when
And
God says it's heaven or hell, you know, I mean, that's, yeah.
I didn't realize what promise I had made until I started going through withdrawals and detox. And I wasn't fortunate to go to rehab. I was alone and had a friend that took care of me. I do not suggest anybody do this at home because this is not a safe way to do it. But
you were in a position where you financially, you couldn't
I
afford to go
I had
into
no
rehab
money.
or
My family was
not having anything to do with you at that point.
you know, because I had said many times before, I'll stop doing this and doing that, and my words meant nothing. I'm a drug addict, you know, and when, you know, it's just lies. I mean.
Well, I mean, and you have to look at it from their point of view too. You have to build trust back up with them, you know, because you've robbed from them and you've lied to them, and anytime I've ever spoken with you, you've talked about how wonderful your family is, you know, so you guys have come a long way.
We all have come a long
Yeah.
way, but it's like I've learned throughout my recovery that trust and respect is earned, it is not given.
That's right.
Love is an action word. It has to be shown. And talk is cheap if you don't do what you say you're going to do.
That's right.
I've learned that. So I've had to earn trust and respect from my family, through friends, in just life period, whether it's on a job or whatever, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. And I've taught my son this. And when people start trusting what you say that you're going to do or whatever, then they'll start trusting you. But like I said, trust and respect is earned, it is not given.
Now, when you were going through your addiction is when you helped start the Celebrate Recovery at the church, right?
Well, I started going to a church, and I had went and told the pastor my testimony, and he said, well, hey, I'm going to send you to a Celebrate Recovery Summit, which is, and Celebrate Recovery is a recovery program. It was started from John Baker and Rick Warren in Saddleback Church in California. And so I helped start, me and another lady helped start Celebrate Recovery at this church. I completed the 12 steps through CR. And it's a Christ-centered recovery program. And yes, without Celebrate Recovery, I don't know where I'd be. So God and Celebrate Recovery saved my life.
Yeah, that's awesome though. That's awesome. Yeah, God is good. So, how are you using your testimony today to help others? I mean, I know you're involved in several different things, but, you know, with all the people that I meet, when you live a life like that and you can turn it around so many people come to you and they want to know how you did it, how you healed from it, how you were able to overcome.
Well, first, how I overcame this was I started in church, and then I got in with, started going into this woman's study, and it was called Breaking Free by Beth Moore. And I didn't really know if I wanted to do this or not. I was like, did I want to accept my past? Did I really want to do this? Did I even want to go back to church? Well, make a long story short, I got home that night. I said, okay. So I started reading the introduction that Beth Moore had on here, and it was Galatians 5:1 that hit me like a ton of bricks in my face. That Sunday night, I read Galatians 5:1. That Monday morning, I was at the church asking God, save me, I need help, I can't do this. I was saved that next morning, off of Galatians 5:1.
That's awesome. So how were you using your testimony to help others?
I'm always telling people about about who I am. When I was involved with the school with my son, I was talking to teenage girls, just sharing my testimony all the time of, where I've been, where I am today, how I've done it. And it doesn't take but 5 or 10 minutes to say, hey, without God, I couldn't have done this.
Right.
I mean, you just can't, it's just not going to happen. You have to have God first.
Right.
And with God, then everything else falls into place.
You have to have that foundation of those 10 commandments. That's exactly where you have to start, which is at the basics,
And in Celebrate Recovery, there's the 8 Beatitudes that is found in Matthew, is used in this program, and the 12 steps have biblical comparisons with them. So, like I said, it's a God foundation, and without God, with that foundation, you just cannot come out from where I was, my addictions, or anything.
Yeah. So are you running any programs now, or helping any programs right
Well, I'm still involved in Celebrate Recovery. I'm always a big promoter of Celebrate Recovery. And I'm helping co-lead an abuse study now, which actually starts today. It's a recovery, abuse recovery. And it's a 12-week study. It's called Hidden Hearts, and I will be completing that again. Be working on my, abuse and adoption, and trying to start adding that into my into my testimony of, with where the drug addictions and all that come place. And now I'm dealing with why I use the drugs. So.
Okay. If you had one piece of advice that you could give for others that maybe are walking in shoes that you've walked in, or are in the middle of their recovery, what would it be?
I tell everybody all the time that recovery can be a reality and addiction can be overcome. God first, and to never give up.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, it's
thank
fun.
you so much for coming in and sharing with us, and we'd love to hear your comments if you have a topic or something that you want to discuss, or if you would like to come in and give your own testimony, we'd love to have you come in. Give us a call. You can contact us on the About page, plus all the information is going to be at the end of this video. Also, look for Sandy to come back again. We're actually going to do a show on adoption, and maybe lead into some other shows, so look for her again. She's going to be a reoccurring special guest, I think.
So, this is fun.